No, doctor, you actually do need a degree for it, yeah. Unless you're Dr. Oz.
It was yeah. I learned. I got this yarn. I've been dying. He's gonna take a picture. Probably direct us. So I get it. So my first was and then my second was like and then Thank you. Where do you get? Yeah. So I ever want. I have this. Yeah. Yeah, I was at the grocery store, maybe $15. So this is like really big step up.
Where are you working?
It is. And I live right there.
I like to hold it home. Down the road and they're like. Anyway. Good home right at the top. Yes, 2000. I was just like. No.
Check 1 2 1 2 check. Okay, everyone. Okay, we are setting up our computers to make sure we have a live stream of this meeting. Okay. All right, so I will call this meeting to order. This is a regular Board of Commissioners meeting, December 4th, 2024. I'll try to speak loudly so those outside of the room can hear me the best that you can. One of the things we're going to do is move right into recognitions and proclamations, and that may free up some space. But first, I'm going to establish. Thank you. Thank you. The first thing we're going to do is make sure we have a quorum. Commissioner Hall, myself, and I believe Commissioner Jacobson is online with us. Okay. Katie Jacobson, Commissioner Jacobson, you want to just give it a shot to see if we can hear you right now?
Hey, can you hear me? Good morning.
Yes, and you can hear us.
Oh, good. Okay. We were having troubles. I can hear you loud and clear, Commissioner Miller.
Thank you, Commissioner Jacobson. That establishes a quorum. We're going to move right into recognitions and proclamations, and then we're going to remove a few things from the agenda today, but we'll get there.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have speakers.
Oh.
that
I'm gonna get our-
Go beyond the.
Actually, the portable speaker? The portable speaker? Okay, so we're going to. Yeah, if, for those who cannot hear very well, please just kind of nudge your way in. I think we can fill up this space a little bit more on each side of where people are sitting. All chairs are out. Commissioner Jacobson, and for those online, stand by. We are getting an extra speaker. We'll see if that'll help us out. Yeah. Okay. So for recognitions of service, we want to recognize Diana Chu Butler. And please come up and grab your certificate if you're here for 5 years of service, Health and Human Services. Thank you. Anthony Bucas, 5 years of service, Public Works. Is Anthony here? Thank you. Jonathan Hoy, 5 years, the District Attorney's Office. Jonathan, are you here today? Thank you. Okay, Vanessa Howard, I see her, 10 years, planning and development. Thank you, Vanessa. And Jane Welch, 20 years of service, our tax treasurer. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Oh, and Anthony is here. There he is. Anthony, get your certificate. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. Can you hear me out there a little bit better? That does help. Okay. I'll do 2 microphones today. Okay. So we move to recognitions of new employees, and tell us who you are and who you've brought today.
Good morning, everybody. For the record, my name is Allison Wagner. I'm the Human Resources Assistant for Lincoln County. I'm going to introduce the employees that are new for the month of November that were unable to make it today. First is Cameron Davis with the Sheriff's Office. She's a corrections deputy. Travis Iverson with the Sheriff's Office, a deputy sheriff patrol. Adrian Regan, Sheriff's Office, deputy sheriff, also patrol. Robert Shaver, Public Works, Road Maintenance Worker 1. Now I'm going to invite the other employees that made it today to introduce themselves.
Come on up.
Hello, I'm Hannah Smith. I am Case Manager 2 for Child and Family at Health and Human Services.
All right. Thank you. That was Hannah Smith for those way back there. Understood. Okay. Thank you. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Susan Taylor, Property Office Manager at the Surveyor's Office.
Okay. Susan Taylor, nice to meet you. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Angela Harson, and I am a harm reduction specialist with Health and Human Services.
All right. Angela Hartson, nice to meet you. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Tristan Wilson. I'm a mechanic for the Public Works Roads Department.
Okay. And that was Tristan Wilson. And we're going to get a photo of our new employees. Stand by. Okay, we appreciate you. Thank you. All right, so if we could, just a moment here. Are you guys leaving now or they are? Okay, well, thanks. This is our employee recognition. You want to take a photo real fast? Okay. Oh, Jane left. Okay, well, thank you very much for your service to Lincoln County. We appreciate you. Okay. All right, so that moves out of recognitions and proclamations, and that moves us to the adoption of the consent calendar. Do commissioners have anything to highlight or pull from the consent calendar? Consent calendar items are items that are routine or have been previously discussed. Commissioner Jacobson, anything for you?
Nothing to highlight. I'll make a motion that we adopt the consent calendar as it is presented.
And I will second that motion, Chair Miller.
Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All
Aye.
right, motion passes. All right, and that moves us, did we want to jump up to discussion? Okay, so those of you that are in for the public hearing, due to this turnout, we're actually going to remove some items from our discussion, but we're going to move that forward and get through those. That way we can devote our full time to this public hearing. So item A, I believe we're going to move to our next commissioners meeting. But what we are going to do now is discuss the county fee schedule. Assistant County Counsel Brian Gardner is with us. Good morning.
Chair Miller, can you clarify? So we're moving the resolution regarding Lincoln County Water Systems Alliance to our next meeting? Is that the item we're moving?
Yeah, and Commissioner Jacobson, just to jump ahead here, we're also considering moving the jurisdictional transfer, the STIF application, the report on the commons development, and the ARPA. If you're want to keep the ARPA? Okay, we'll keep the ARPA. Does that sound okay to you, Commissioner Jacobson and Hall?
Yes.
I am good with that. We do need to keep the juvenile shelter ARPA thing, but other than that, everything else can be moved, in my opinion.
Okay, great. So we have consensus on that, and we'll jump back to Brian Gardner to talk about the fee schedule.
Thank you, Commissioner Miller. This is Brian Gardner, Assistant County Counsel for Lincoln County. And I have before you today something that we can't remove, or it would have been pushed, but we need to have this for a discussion item and then decision and action on our next meeting on December 18th, because this is our fee schedule that is proposed to go into effect on January 1st of 2025. So the requirements are that we have the 2 meetings to let everybody know the proposed changes to the fee schedule. And the fees, for those who don't know, are based on each department does research as to what the different services cost for them to provide. And so normally fees go up based on added costs, inflation and everything. We did have a couple that went down. But again, that's based on their analysis. It's a 31-page document for those who aren't aware, so I'm not going to go through all of it. I'm going to highlight the main ones because it will be on for decision action. So if there's any questions, and based on the amount of time we're going to have today, I want to just highlight a few things. The clerk has updated their fees, modifying some, none more than just a few percent. So for example, for certain hearings, duplications, some fees are going from like $20 to $25. That's on page 7 of the attached document to the agenda. They did add a couple different services, such as a passport digital photo. So that's a new fee. But again, just an optional service that they're willing to provide. The only new section is something that's being added called the administrative hearings. And that's for an administrative hearing request. And so that fee is a new fee. It does not, since we do not have evidence currently for what that's actually, I'm sorry, that's on page 14, for what that's going to cost, since we haven't done those. Because there will be, we understand that the cost is going to be greater than this to the county to have these, because we have to hire an administrative law judge. And of course, county staff time and all that, but this is where we're starting at. It's roughly between 40% to 50% of other counties who have this on their fee schedule. And once we have evidence to base a change to this fee, if there is evidence to base it, we would do that on a future fee schedule. The only other department I'm going to highlight for you today is the Public Works, the Parks Division. They are proposing changes, sorry, for your review, for some of the different parks for Moonshine, Elk, Morgan. And that has to do with vehicle costs. So it's not a drastic change. They're like changing from $7 to $10 for fees, and also allowing for they're adding fees for entire campground rentals, if the entire campground's available. But the Roads Division did have, I'm sorry, just for reference, that was page 24. And page 25 did have some new added ones for the Roads Division that Department Head Dewan had realized weren't in our fee schedule that are needed. So he proposed those. I did the research and have added those.
Oh, excuse me, Mr. Gardner. For those of you outside, I know it's tempting to talk, but it's bleeding in here to us. So please, your patience. We're going over the fee schedule right now. If you could keep it quiet, it'd really help us in here to hear as well. Thank you.
So I'd ask the commissioners if there's any questions, and I can make sure I get those answers before the decision action meeting on the 18th. Otherwise, I just ask that this be put on the agenda for the 18th for the decision and action.
Yeah, I have no questions. Everything is highlighted in yellow with the changes. Commissioner Jacobson or Hall, any questions or thoughts?
No question.
Same.
Go ahead, Commissioner Jacobson.
Sorry about that. It's hard to know who else is talking. No changes or questions at this time from me. Thanks.
Okay,
So I'm in agreement with moving it forward for adoption on the 18th.
okay.
Let's do
There you
that.
go. Thank you.
Thank you.
Council Gardner. All right, so we are going to jump to item F, and again, we're going to change these items and move them to our next commissioners meeting. Now, our staff report on ARPA, the American Rescue Plan Act, funding shelter home remodel. Who is our lead on this one? Katie Jacobson.
It actually should be Angela or Tony from parole and
oh.
probation.
They're making their way here.
Okay.
Make sure you're red there, Angela. All right. Please introduce yourselves. Thank you.
I'm Angela Hope, Operations Supervisor over at Community Justice.
Tony Campa, Criminal Justice Director for Lincoln County.
Okay, well, take it away.
So we applied to add redo a building so it will be able to house 18 to 24-year-old homeless youth in our community. And that's for those kids that are transitioning either from our shelter or homeless, meet the criteria. And we would be they'll be paying rent and those kinds of things, and learning independent living, and that's the plan.
So we had an RFP put out for the remodel work, and we evaluated the two bids that we got based on the criteria listed in the RFP, and we decided on S&G Construction. I thought it was S&G. Yeah.
J.
Oh, S&J, sorry.
S&G on the bottom.
And they won based on the criteria that was in the RFP. We need to decide exactly how much of this we can do. And And we'd like permission to move forward with getting under contract for it.
Okay, so for context here, folks, we are looking at the staff reports. And I am comfortable moving forward, making the award to S&J Construction. But commissioners, any questions? Commissioner Jacobson, can you hear everything okay? And any contributions at this point?
Thank you, Chair Miller. I actually hear everyone really well. So thank you for that. Only thing I would have to add is that this is ARPA money, so we do have to get it under contract by the end of the year. And so I think today we're making a motion to, have staff start the, the contract process with this company to get this under contract by the end of the year.
Okay, so we'll see that contract come back to us at a future board meeting, probably soon at our next
18th.
meeting on the 18th. Okay.
Yes.
All right, so, well, thank you. I think we've got,
Okay. I was
excuse me.
just trying to see what was going
Yes,
on in
okay.
the background. A little bit of logistic juggling to, no, I'm really excited about this project. It's going to be beneficial in so many ways. You know, when I talk with people about homelessness, one of the causes few, if any, recognize are youth aging out of foster care. And I think we know from hard-earned experience that it is so much easier to prevent somebody from becoming homeless than getting them out of that situation. So do we have a timeline, construction, even a guesstimate on when we might be able to open the doors on this?
I didn't bring the timeline
Hmm.
that this contractor
Mhm.
said on there, but I
Hmm.
believe we're looking at like a year's worth of construction.
Okay,
And
great.
and so hopefully
Yeah.
soon.
I'd appreciate getting a copy of that, and I imagine my fellow commissioners would as well, because, okay, good stuff.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Hall. Any last words, Commissioner Jacobson, on this?
No, I would just agree with Commissioner Hall. Excited to see this move forward. Many of the kids that are currently in our youth shelter, at 18, they age out, and our staff does everything they can for them, but really hard to essentially have to make people homeless at 18 because of the shelter rules and just the configuration of the space that we have. So looking forward that we're able to not disturb other youth in our community, but keep the kids or young adults rather that we have to help them make a more smoother transition out into adult life.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Jacobson. So just checking with Administrator Johnson. Oh, go ahead. Oh, got you. Little echo there on the live stream. Administrator Johnson, so does staff understand we're moving our stiff item then?
That's
Okay,
correct.
okay. So that moves us now.
Well, hang on, I
finally-
think we might need a motion. Brian, do we need a motion, either awarding it or directing staff?
I would just ask that the BOC, I think I understand that there's been a notice of intent to award allowed for us to get that notice out. And I believe there was a motion to direct staff to start to work on the contract.
All right.
Well, okay, we're
That
good.
works for
All
me.
right. So we're going to proceed. So thank you too. Appreciate it. Okay. So you are all here for the public hearing and let's get started with that. Any preliminary thoughts? Okay, Administrator Johnson.
Thank
I'm gonna give
you.
this mic.
So a couple things. We need, there will be a sheet that will be passed around to all of you out in the hallway that want to speak.
No, they're gonna have to come and sign.
Well, we can get it out there. The second item is, Commissioner, we're going to either need another microphone or we're going to need to use this microphone for the purposes. And then, so we're going to need to use this microphone so that these folks out here in the hall can hear what's going on.
Okay, well, yeah, I think we'll just bear with us, everyone.
Help
We'll
with
just
that,
go through
Vanessa.
this process of making sure the mic is passed back and forth so everybody can hear. Yeah, I think
Okay,
we're just
very
gonna have to
good.
do what it takes here. Okay,
Commissioner Miller, I've been told that for that other mic, it needs to be right up to they can't hear.
this one?
It's gotta be right there, you know. Otherwise they don't hear it out there.
Okay,
Okay.
so if you get the mic, take a look at me, hold it up to your mouth closely like this.
Try not to swallow it.
And it's really important. And, you know, thanks for your patience, everyone. Sorry, we were doing this on the fly, so we cut out. The battery looks full, but no,
I can hear it.
better now. Cut out. Okay.
There's a wall in between.
He's gonna maybe move it a little closer. Okay. You can hear me? Okay, thumbs up in the back. Okay. Yeah, it could be the wireless, trying to get through the wall there. Okay, everybody ready to proceed? Okay, I am opening the public hearing on ordinance number 537 titled, "An Ordinance Amending the Lincoln County Code, Chapter 1 to update sections of the code pertaining to the administration of the National Flood Insurance Program, special flood hazard area requirements, and declaring an emergency." This is a legislative hearing and our process will be in 4 steps. First, I will ask county council to read the ordinance by title unless they're. Okay. Well, for those who are maybe having a little bit harder, just try to nudge your way up and come into this room. Come on in. We've got room over here on the left and right sides. Come on in.
The room. It's like, folks, come on.
Okay. Let's bring you in the best we can. Come on.
No way you're gonna fit that many people. That always.
Okay, but we're trying to get as many in as we can.
Nobody needs to
Yeah,
see.
there you go.
Here.
Yeah. But I think everyone's ability to hear us is most important, even if for those in the back, you can't see over some of these folks. We want you to be able to hear us.
Yeah, I want you to sit there, but then, yeah, no problem. I'm sure I'm on a blacklist somewhere. Oh.
Okay, and the gentleman in front of the doors right here, is there anyone behind those doors, sir? Can you open those doors, please? And we can squeeze. So for those in the back there, you can squeeze around to this side door over here. You can come back around the way you came in, and then that'll give you a little bit of room over there. Okay, yeah, come closer. I see Willow back there. Willow, can you hear me? Okay. All right, as long as it doesn't go in and out. Okay. As everybody's getting settled here, I'm gonna restate what I stated previously. This is a legislative hearing and our process will be in 4 steps. First, I'll ask county council to read the ordinance by title unless there is an objection by one of the commissioners. So would we like this to be read by title only?
Yes.
Title only, thank.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Jacobson. Okay, hearing no objection, council, would you please read the ordinance by title now?
Thank you, Commissioners. Kristen Ewell, County Council. Before the Board of Commissioners for Lincoln County, Oregon, ordinance number 537, an ordinance amending the Lincoln County Code, Chapter 1, to update sections of the code pertaining to the administration of the National Flood Insurance Program, special flood hazard area requirements, and declaring an emergency.
Okay. All right, thank you, Council Ewell. Okay, Onno Husing, our County Planning Director, is going to provide us some background, and he's looking right at me.
Because Vanessa's going to get me the mic.
All right. He does want the mic. It's
That's
good.
what that looks
It's appropriate.
Thank you, members of the commission.
as you know, my name is Anno Husing. I am the Director of the Planning Department. I am also Lincoln County's floodplain administrator. Lucky me. So first of all, I want to thank everybody for being here. You all have the looks on your face like you got one of those letters. So on November 13th, our department mailed out approximately 6,000 letters, don't hold me to that exact amount, to residents in Lincoln County. And the reason we did that was if our mapping system showed that even a tiny piece of your property was in a floodplain, then we were obligated under Oregon law to provide you notice that this process was taking place so you would have a chance to weigh in. So so now let's go back to 1998 because it was Measure 56 that the voters voted for that said if there's going to be a change that might affect the value of your property, then we had to send you out that notice. So there was a legal obligation, even though these are changes to federal rules and laws. This is basically the reason you got those letters was that we were obligated under Measure 56 to get you that notice. This whole thing started about 10 years ago because the FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Administration, was sued by conservation groups, not anybody locally, right? So let's not get upset about Midcoast Watershed Council or anybody else, right? These were national groups, sued the federal government and said, hey, your national flood insurance program is incentivizing development within floodplains. And if we don't get a handle on that, if that isn't curbed, that was their thinking, and the National Marine Fisheries Service was involved. This is an Endangered Species Act issue with salmon. Then ultimately, that's what this was all about. The FEMA was sued and was told you need to make adjustments to the National Flood Insurance Program to make sure that salmon and a bunch of other species can remain viable. So there was an Endangered Species Act angle to all of this. Now, recently, FEMA was sued again. And the federal court told FEMA, hey, you're dragging your feet. You need to go ahead and get this going. So we only got, and so I have had the pleasure, and I really mean it, the pleasure of talking to several hundred people in the last week or two because we sent these notices out and we encouraged people to give us a call. So for anyone here today, I do want, if you haven't had a chance to speak with me, I encourage you to do that. We can talk about your property and go over this in depth, how it relates to your particular property. But one of the biggest punchlines is this is not going to affect you if it survives legal challenges and political challenges. It will not affect you if you're planning to do new development within a floodplain. So I called that the punchline when I talk with people. It's like, hey, that's largely the biggest factor is if you already have development within a floodplain, then that's fine. And this has nothing to do with your insurance levels or anything like that. But as this is going forward, if you're going to do something new, then a bunch of new requirements are going to attach at that time. So my own experience from talking to several hundred of you is that there's not that many people that were planning on doing something in the floodplain right away. And the other thing, I think everybody needs to try to relax a little bit and understand that this whole thing is evolving. Because, for instance, we only got a letter on July 15th from FEMA saying, hey, get ready, we're coming your way. And then we only got a draft model ordinance from FEMA on August 15th. And then they proceeded to tell us that, oh, hey, guess what? Good news. There's another draft. There's a second draft coming our way. And so, I mean, this is no way to treat your partners, right? We carry out the program at the local level in collaboration with FEMA. And so I got to tell you, I'm frustrated too, that all of a sudden this stuff came, and people said on the phone to me all the time, how in the heck can we provide input on this if you've already got to make decisions? And all of that is a demonstration that this process is flawed. All right. So the good news is no one's taken action today. I'm going to stand down in a couple minutes because there are a lot of people here that want to get something off their chest, want to talk about this process and talk about this rule. So I think it's really important at this point that what would be most constructive is not to hear very much from me, but instead to hear from all the good people that showed up that have some observations about what this potentially could impact them in their lives. And so I think basically, you know, Commissioner Miller and the other members of the commission, unless you have questions, I'll certainly be in the wings ready to answer any questions or circle back.
Director Husing, are you presenting this? Which was included
Yeah.
in the packet?
Thank you. All right. So there's a very, very short couple slides here. Thank you for reminding me. I just want to hear what you guys have to say more than hear me talk. So that part of me forgetting that we.
Director Husey, just a moment here. Go ahead. Commissioner Hall, did you have some?
Yeah, please.
And I want everybody to know that we had. Oh, I better.
Thank you.
Here. You know, and to fill in the picture a bit further, Ano and our legal counsel were right on top of this. They did a presentation for us. Wasn't it in September? Pretty much to get this on our radar screen, lay out the options. But one thing I don't think we really touched on was the potential Measure 56 impacts. And if someone can prove under Measure 56 that these new maps affect their ability to develop their property, that would trigger Measure 56, wouldn't it? And do we have any idea, you know, locally around the state, how much cost that would incur?
Thank you for the question. Let me get back to you on that because, first of all, that's our problem. That's not the problem of all the people in the audience that would like to talk, right? Yeah. So, but almost all of, and I don't know how many jurisdictions yet have actually done the Measure 56 notice, but again, one of the reasons I like working here is that we follow the law. And Measure 56 said we need to provide people notice, and by God, we did. So what's most important is that people begin to understand what's going on. If there are other issues related to financial implications for the county, we'll handle that later. But the way the rules are also constructed, it doesn't provide hard no's. It really just says, hey, if you're going to be doing new development, then you've got more stuff to do that in some cases is going to be readily available for people to offset the impacts of new development on floodplains. Mm-hmm. But there are some properties we're having trouble understanding how they would do that. So thank you for the question. Thank you for letting me punt on the answer. Okay. But I'm glad you brought it up. Let's race through a couple of these slides then. Ken, you want to? All right. Because misery enjoys company, we threw this in there. This is how many counties in Oregon are affected by these rules, right? So it really is based on the Endangered Species Act and the presence or absence of salmonids that are listed species. Next slide. And so the bottom line is the federal government keeps telling us through this program that it's voluntary. Well, you don't have to do any of this. But at the same time, if we don't participate in the National Flood Insurance Program, look at the implications of that. And then and I'll walk through them really quick, but you have to ask yourself, well, how voluntary is this really? Because the impact of us telling the feds, we don't care about what you think, we're just going to do something different, would have dire economic consequences on our jurisdiction. So again, no resident, if we don't work with FEMA and try to make something work here, and if they pull us out of the program, and some folks are saying, oh, they won't do that. Well, all right. I cannot in good conscience provide you the advice that we should somehow just tell them to go to hell and see what they do. but because this is what would happen. No resident would be able to purchase a flood insurance policy, which means good luck going to a bank and trying to get funding to buy a house, right, in these areas. Existing flood insurance policies will not be renewed. Yikes. Banks will then turn around and tell people, well, we can't, under federal law, if you're in a flood zone and you're borrowing money from a bank, you have to have flood insurance. Again, doesn't sound too voluntary to me. 4, no federal, or all right, 3, no federal grants or loans or development may be made in identified flood hazard areas under programs administered by federal agencies such as HUD, EPA, and the Small Business Administration. 4, no federal disaster assistance may be provided to repair insurable buildings located in identified flood hazard areas for damage caused by the flood. No federal mortgage insurance loan guarantees may be provided in identified flood hazard areas. Again, that means the bank's going to say, we can't loan you money to buy that property. And no mortgage insurance or loan guarantees can be provided in these flood areas. And the last one, federally insured lending institutions, banks, credit areas must notify applicants seeking loans for insurable buildings in flood hazard areas that there is a flood hazard and that the property is not eligible for federal disaster relief. None of those things are very good. All of them together it's a daunting proposition. So yeah, we're trying to figure this out, and please understand, and I've said this to many people on the phone too, there are actually members of Congress, remember even Tina Kotek wrote a letter saying, hey, this is going way too fast and we need to rethink how we're doing that. Our own governor. So there are a lot of outstanding, very credible people that are working to try to figure out what to do here. So thank you again for Council Yule for saying I should at least walk through that. But unless there are other questions now, can we? All right, there's one left. That's our choice, ladies and gentlemen, right? FEMA said to us, we got door number 1, door number 2, or door number 3, prohibit all new development in the floodplain. We're not doing that. The model ordinance is what we have on the table now, and many other jurisdictions are doing that if we follow that, then we'll be deemed in compliance. But the model ordinance is changing. So again, everything that we're talking about is up for grabs. And the permit by permit is basically applying the same standards that are in the model ordinance, but reviewing every permit that comes through the door for new development in a floodplain through the lens of making sure that we're offsetting any new impacts on floodplain functions under the Endangered Species Act. So I think that's probably more than enough, unless there are other questions at this time. Again, I'm anxious. I've had outstanding conversations, a lot of good people here, a lot of people confused about what this means for them. And again, I encourage them, seek me out. We will talk to everybody that needs to go over, look at the floodplain maps on your property and walk you through what's going on your property. Thank you, Vanessa, for taking the mic. And
This will be a
Okay, so just going to create some clarity for everyone who's seen this document for the first time. Right now, it's not in the packet, I believe, right? Okay, so we'll make sure that this is included in the agenda portal for this meeting. But also I would note here, Director Husing, I see in the letter to the community, it directs people to the planning department website. It would be good if we could get this as well, where that link is, so people have these
right.
resources.
We've been endeavoring to have it on the main county website and the planning department sub part of the website as well. And certainly need to as we move forward.
Okay. So yeah, I think the questions I've received too are everyone just trying to get further clarity. So folks, that's what we're trying to do here today as well, is make sure we're all on the same page together. And with that, Commissioner Jacobson, I just want to make sure, do you have any comments? We're going to move into.
Yes, I do have a comment. As Director Husing was talking about, this is a federal issue that then we have to adopt and implement. Even though we have to make the decision locally, I think it's still really important for our federal delegation to hear from constituents on this. And I think as I was watching the meeting, I think I maybe saw Brubaker from Congresswoman Val Hoyle's office. So if Sherry is indeed there, it might be nice for her to throw a hand up just so people know who she is, so they can connect with her as well. I don't know if there's any other field
She-
staff
okay.
from, okay, and I don't know if there's other field staff from other federal offices there too. But just kind of a note to the public that, you know, while you need direct comments at us to implement locally, because we are mandated by law to do that. I also think it's really important to, you know, reach out to your federal delegation as well to talk to them about this issue. And Sherry's just one resource that I just wanted to point out.
Yeah, great point, Commissioner Jacobson. And Sherry, maybe we can make sure that within all this comment that you also provide some information about how the community can reach you. So definitely don't go anywhere, okay? Any other representatives here other than Sherry? And, okay, Commissioner Jacobson, I think we'll just move into public comments, but also make sure that contact information for Sherry as well is shared in all the resources as we further develop these things out. Council Yule, anything else before we get into this? Okay, so we've got a sign up sheet and it may be circulating. Okay, we'll find it. So we've got your input today in person. We also have people online, but we're going to go with our in-person comment first. Now, we're really going to keep this tight to 3 minutes, folks, okay? I know sometimes it doesn't feel like a whole lot of time, but there's so many people here today. So please just be concise, state your point. And I think one thing you can do too is if somebody else has made your point, maybe consider just saying that that's already been stated, and that'll save us some time and work our way through without duplication.
Commissioner Miller, that I think the other big point is this hearing is thank you. This hearing it won't be over today. Basically, your opportunity to interact with us and provide input that we put on the record is still ongoing. Okay. So for everybody online, or even who you walk out of here and after you hear some stuff, say, "Boy, there's some other stuff I want to say." Please, let's build a record today. All right, let's do that. And because there are opportunities between now and what finally gets adopted. Thank you.
Okay, so if you didn't catch that online, there are going to be other opportunities. We're just juggling mics here, so let's start out with our first.
Apologies. This it looks like Bates L.
So Bates L. So we have signed up here Bates L.
Keep calling.
Okay, how about Donald's TW?
He's there. Hang on. Bates.
Oh, is this Bates?
Yes, it is.
Okay, come forward, please. We're gonna need you to talk into this mic and also talk into the mic right there in the middle at the same time. Vanessa's gonna hand you the mic. Thank you. And we'll get started, sir. If you could actually sit down so that mic, it also captures your comments. Perfect.
Yes, I'm Leroy Bates and live in a floodplain, and it's been going on for over 100 years. But before that, it was always going on because it was naturally flood. All right. What I'm trying to get to is here we have a dike, and it's been protected for the farm ground. And now we're coming into restrictions on this.
Hold that other mic up real close, right?
All right.
There you go.
But anyway, my concern is now this regulating control that this FEMA has over our county before, and I was wondering why they're not here also. Anyway, I'll ask it right there.
Yeah. Probably others are wondering that too. Thank you, sir. Yes. Okay, and our next name.
Donald Weisner.
Donald Weisner. There he is. Hold this mic up real close there, Donald.
You got it.
Okay,
My
good.
name is Donald Weisner and I live up Slick Rock Creek. I'm a resident of Rose Lodge for the last 38 years. I'm an elected official for the newly formed Rose Lodge New Bridge Road Committee, in which at one point in time back in 1996, the road slid out due to the floodplains and stuff like that. And if it hadn't been for FEMA's extra money, that road would never been fixed. It took 104 dump trucks and stuff like that. And the money that FEMA did have, they used it. And the rest of the money that was needed to complete that project right there went on to the people's taxes who lived there. Of course, this was before the road committee and stuff like that. Now that we have the road committee, we are liable legally for maintaining this private road. I represent 50 landowners. And when I mentioned this piece of paper right here, everybody kind of went, well, what are you talking about? And I said, well, I got this in the mail. And I said, I will go and find out what's going on. So I don't want to really go into a lot of questions, kind of more of a statement. My only question is, if 6,000 people got this letter, was that just in Lincoln County or was that within all these,
Just in Lincoln
Just
County.
Lincoln County.
just Lincoln County?
Mhm.
Okay, and it kind of sounded to me like everybody who lives on a creek gets one. Well, that is not the case.
And some of the oceanfront and the bays, right? If you got to
Okay,
put the
well,
stone on your property.
That's maybe the intention, but over half of the people that I talk to up on Slick Rock Creek Road, of course, it goes with the name right there. Everybody's got riverfront property or some sort of water going on. I don't know. Everybody was just kind of like, well, this seems very curious. We got FEMA in on it. Of course, we know how FEMA has handled everything else from all the hurricanes and now from what's going on the East Coast, which is an absolute atrocity and a disaster. So they kind of had concerns about what was, going on. So they went, hey, Don, would you go there and find out what's going on right there? Like I said, I've lived there now for 38 years. My property insurance and whatnot has in the last 2 years gone from $1,200 to $2,400. I'm 70 years old. I'm on a limited income. And I'll tell you what, I'm getting taxed right out of everything that I worked my butt off to get where I'm at right now. And I'd just like to hope that there's other people in here who are smarter than I am, who have better questions than I do and know more about it, who can kind of pin down, and maybe there might be some sort of public announcement on this right here. And that will help take care of some of the questions that my people have asked me. And I know I'm past 3 minutes and
Yeah.
sorry.
Thank you, Donald,
It's
though.
so long.
Okay, let's move on to the next.
Sterling Grant.
Starling
Grant.
Sterling Grant. Okay. Sterling Grant, here he comes. Okay. Sterling, make sure to keep that mic as close to your mouth as you can here while you're talking to the other mic. You've got 3 minutes, sir.
Okay, thank you. I want to thank Otto for his comments. He's always been real good to work with, and I appreciate him. It's a tough job. Yeah, we got a lot of areas in the county that are, long streams. We got a ranch in eastern end of the county, and a number of our fields ended up in the floodplain. We've been there for 150 years, and I've never seen the water that high. So I have a little challenge with their boundaries that they've set. They talk about the Endangered Species Act in this, and they like to use the Endangered Species Act a lot of times, which irritates me a lot of times. But I spent a lot of time, 25 years in the Lincoln Soil and Water District, so I dealt with a lot of issues. But with the Endangered Species Act, as ranchers, we care about the ground, we care about the soil, we care about the longevity of our property. And so with the things that I could read in there, which is very confusing, I went to your website, try to read all those things. Oh my gosh. You need more than one attorney to figure all that out. But there's some things talking in there about some fill and things like that in the floodplains. Well, with livestock, we've got to try to protect our soils and but yet water them and take care of them. So we use rock to rock roadways, water sites and stuff like this. Well, the way I understand in this, it's talking about prohibiting any elevation of like that. And I know that's fine print, that's, but the problem is you get things like that in there, they slip things in like that really make it difficult for a normal person, normal operator to try to do things legitimately and legally and things. So how am I going to protect the soils where my livestock can go water? This is just one example. I'm just using one because I'm short time, but, and stay within the guidelines and the rules. I think FEMA has not used good judgment in a lot of their wording. That's a lot of my opposition to this. I fully agree with using common sense in where you build buildings and not have them down in areas that could be flooded. I know there's a lot of good things like that need to be dealt with, and I know Ono, he looks at those things. There's rules and things that he never set, but he has to abide by. So I just like to see more common sense, and so that's where this bothers me, is so many of the small things in there that can implement it and affect us down the road pretty seriously. And so I like to see that taken. Of course, that's federal. That's makes it tough to deal with as a county. But anyway, those are some concerns we have.
Thank you, Mr. Grant. Vanessa, can I have that microphone real fast? Just a note to everyone here. Remember, this meeting is being recorded and it'll be available on our website. Of course, it's being live streamed too. So just if anybody's leaving after they make their comments, just remember you can circle back and get this information. Of course, we're taking this all in. Okay, so
I'll run a timer for that one.
you're gonna run a timer?
I'll run a timer. Karen Otta. Tim Dorsey.
Tim Dorsey, here he comes.
Yeah, I'd like to pass on speaking on this subject at the time being.
Okay.
Tim Miller.
Tim Miller.
Hi, Tim.
Well, you're still with us, Commissioner Jacobs.
Tim Miller, I farm in the Sluts area. Okay, I hate the mic.
I know, but there you go, a little closer. Perfect.
Commissioner Miller, Commissioner Hall, Commissioner Jacobson, thank you for allowing me to say a few words, and I'll try and be brief. I know you're between a rock and a hard spot here, and I think if we do a few tweaking of some of the wordage, we can probably make it livable for everybody. One of the first things that came to my mind when I was reading this is the exempt section in where you talk about the activities that are listed, exempt activities listed in section 1.2310. If you look at that section, that is not the exempt section. It is actually 1.5 is the exempt section. So I think it would behoove us to change that so we know what we're talking about. When it talks about forest silviculture processes in the floodplain, and it talks about culvert having to say the change, that can be in conflict with the Forest Practices Act. So I would recommend that you would take everything that talks about culverts and whatnot, just take that section out, just say silviculture practices. The next thing I concerned about is changing the footprint of a building. I have a barn that is in the floodplain. Commissioner Hall, I think you've been in that barn. If I wanted to add on to that, I would not be able to. So that's a big concern. Another concern is some of my pasture land. I'd like to continue to improve it, and that would be removing trees and converting brush into pasture. Commissioner Miller, I think you were on that property a year or so ago. And according to the rules here, I would not be able to improve the pasture by removing trees because it's in the flood zone. Those are things that I think if we work to change the language, I think we could probably make this livable for everybody. The last thing, and as an advanced age, sometimes my mind slips and whatever I was going to say, whatever it was, it's gone.
Mr. Miller, is that silviculture?
Silviculture.
Silviculture. Could you spell the silver part for me? Sorry. SILVA. Oh,
Forestry.
okay. Forgive me. Thank you. That it then, Tim?
What's it?
Anything else?
No.
Okay.
I'm good. I think my time's up.
Okay. Well, we appreciate your comments. Okay.
Justin Reed.
Justin Reed. Is that Justin?
Yeah.
That is Justin.
Hello there.
Hey.
Justin Reed. A lot of you guys recognize me. I worked here in the county for 12 years, this county in the assessor's office. Also worked in Benton County for another 5 years over there. Representing Heritage Farms, Farm and Forest. It's our family's LLC farm over in East County on the Big Elk. Couple questions. Would the floodplain remain under the Department of Agricultural? That's one question. The other questions I believe that I had were already answered. From personal experience 15 years ago, 16 years ago, we put in a house, demoed one, put one in, moved it further back from the creek, and it started a nightmare. I spent 6 months fighting with FEMA over maps that were inadequate. They didn't have the maps. A bank hired a company out of Texas. I had to do the research. Luckily for that man standing over in the corner who helped. But I spent 6 months with this to finally prove that yes, there is floodplain on the property, but I was 100 feet away from the creek and over 25 feet in elevation away from. I don't know the last time the creek has even been surveyed where it's at. It changes yearly. Where they say the floodplain map is, I very doubt that that's what is going on. There's a lot of questions out here. The other question is that I don't see the assessor from the county here. There's a lot of people that are going to be wanting to talk about their taxes. That's the big thing. You know, you got a lot of people on income that they can't afford a yearly jump of over $1,000 or plus on insurance because some paper pusher back east wants to do something like that. This seriously needs to be taken into. I think the number of people here, I think, has gotten your guys' attention on this. I just hope you guys make the right decisions. I have a lot of faith in Ono. I've worked with him a lot. I was in the planning office more than I was in the assessor's office. I ran the armed forest programs, trying to save people money. This is going to cost a lot of money if this goes in the way it is. So, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Reed. Okay, and we're looking for our next name.
Apologize if I mispronounce your last name. Brendy Hoke or Hoach?
Okay, Brandy. And was it Hoke, Brandy?
It's actually Ho. So, yeah.
Okay, just make sure to keep that mic real close there and get close to the other one too. You got 3 minutes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Brandy Ho. I have a property that's been in our family for 50 years or more, probably. But I had bought that from my grandpa. And so, with intentions of building our home on that property, we demolished the previous home. So I am been waiting just this time to be right to build. And so we are wanting to build on that property. And this is going to affect us traumatically, as most people would with new construction. This would cause problems for us. In this county, there's not a lot of available homes or places for people that work here. I have lived in this community for over 30 years. Both me and my husband work here, but affordable housing is a problem. We're lucky enough where we have a rental and we're able to rent. But a lot of people that are, working here are running into these kind of issues as, the housing issue here. So this is just one property, but it's also keeping us from having a place to live if we can't develop there, and also bringing our value of what we have down. And so, this is important to me, that, I'm able to build and develop on this lot. So, I'm sure that there's other people in this room that are working at developing, and with the available land that we have in this county, which isn't a lot. And if you take the floodplain into effect, there's not going to be a lot at all. And in this property in particular, my family's lived on this property for years. It has never been flooded. It is not, there's not even a stream near it. We are landlocked by properties all around us that have houses. So this would be preventing us from able to be able to build on our property. So I am just in support of not, letting any of this pass.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, Brandy, thank you. Next name, Mr. Lip.
I'm gonna say 2 names so the next person can be ready. First is Frank Shirkow,
Frank Shirko.
and then it'll be Sarah Johnson following Frank.
Okay. Good morning, Frank.
How you doing?
All right.
Good. Yeah,
Keep that mic pretty close to you there. There you
all
go.
right. So, I'm a practicing civil engineer registered in Oregon and 6 other states. I'm an elected official with the water utility in South County, but I'm speaking as an individual, not for the board. Let's start with the tree issue. So there's an arbitrary 6-inch diameter tree at breast height, which cannot be taken out according to these regulations. So what if the tree is diseased, damaged, leaning over, going to threaten life and limb and property on somebody else's property, let alone your own? So these seem to be arbitrary, not backed by science, not backed by anybody, just here's a number. Second, in the exempt activities, there's a great deal said about above ground utilities or infrastructure that's exempt if you're maintaining it and doing something with it. It doesn't talk about underground utilities. So there are a lot of private underground utilities. All of my electricity is underground on my property. My septic system is underground, privately owned. So we have a lot of property that is underground and ought to be treated the same way as above ground, being exempt from these regulations. Second, there are private drainage ways all over the county. There's one on my southern edge of my property. It's been there probably for 50, 60 years. I've got air photos that show it being put in the 1950s by previous owners, and they need to be maintained. And we don't want to see any kind of prohibition against privately owned facilities being maintained in the proper way. We have a duty and responsibility to ourselves to maintain those properly, and we don't want to see those caught up in a regulatory environment. Second, I think there are changes that are going to happen substantially at FEMA. And before we go headlong into upsetting the entire county and it looks like half the state, we have to think long and hard about the changes that will occur at FEMA before we do something. And if we adopt these or something like them, then next year, are we going to unadopt them when FEMA changes? The last thing I'd say, and I'm speaking as an individual board member, not part of the, not sanctioned by the board to say anything for the water utility. We have underground facilities. We have been serving counties, customers in the South County for 80 years. And we have a fiduciary responsibility to keep those facilities going and provide clean water to our customers. If in the middle of the night, there is a break in a facility, we are going to dig a hole and repair that water line or repair that valve. And some of these facilities are in the floodplain. As you may expect, we have customers on both sides of Highway 101 from Yahats to Waldport. Yeah.
That's the alarm going off.
So
Frank, yeah, we do.
I hope the exemption will provide for above ground and below ground repair of infrastructure and utilities.
Okay. Thank you, Frank. And then also anyone else, remember written input is very helpful as well. So make sure to submit that if you weren't able to complete your thoughts or other things come up. So keep that information coming.
After Sarah Johnson will be Ben Barkley.
Okay, Sarah? Okay.
Thank you for holding this hearing. My name is Sarah Johnson. I am a homeowner along the Salmon River, Rose Lodge, and I'm also the president of the Lincoln County Board of Realtors. I am not speaking in that capacity, but since my name is known, I should say that I am not speaking in that capacity. I'm just a homeowner. But I wanted to be very clear that I don't think that we know the ramifications of what is being decided here. I think that it has been mentioned that it may not affect a lot of people, but it will affect my children and my grandchildren and probably yours too. And that before we make a decision as to what we're going to do with an ordinance that in my understanding of democracy should come from bottom up rather than top down, that in the preservation of the rights of the, not just homeowners, but the renters that this will affect and the people who haven't even moved to Oregon yet, perhaps haven't even been born, that this is a much deeper question on many, many different fronts than just whether or not I'm going to be able to use the property that I own, which is it's a gut it's a gut thing, right? I need to be able to do what I need to do in order to support my family and have a place for my family to live. But it doesn't end there. I need to make sure that I am supporting the future people who are going to be living in this county. And I think that the entire premise is based on data that we don't even have, which is where exactly is the floodplain and what's the cost? And how do we weigh this? I am absolutely in favor of all of the regulations that are currently in place. I don't think that we should be developing into areas that are protected. And I think we should protect our green areas. And I absolutely support the fisheries and all the use that we have currently. I don't think that that is what is at issue here. I think that we already are able to say no. I think we do it frequently and for the right reasons in many cases. But to say no from another jurisdiction, just to tell us what we need to do as citizens without asking us, and then putting the strong arm behind it of if you don't do this, we will do that, and you won't like it, is something that personally I think it's offensive. And I think that if enough people around the country, because it's not just this state or this county, say that they would rather pass and wait to see what happens, if enough response back to this is it's inappropriate and we're not able to decide right now, that may actually table this so that we can get the data that would actually provide an informed decision. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sarah.
Ben Barkley, and then after Ben Barkley will be Willow Kasner.
Okay. And Kenneth, was that Ben or Benton?
Ben, B-E-N.
Ben Barclay. Ben,
Ben Barkley?
okay, Willow Kasner. Willow, could you come on up? And then Ben, if you're out there, Ben Barclay, we still want to hear from you. Okay, so Ben is passing. Willow, make sure to bring that mic right up close for everyone in the back. And are you able to hear us okay in the back when the mic's held up?
When it's not cutting out, yes.
Okay. All right, so keep it up close.
Better now. Oh, I'm shaking.
You're fine.
We don't. All right. I wasn't sure if I was going to talk or not, because I got 1 hour sleep last night, because I was up all night researching this and writing this, or not writing it, but researching and trying to find out all of the information and that I could, because I didn't find that there was very much just at my fingertips. So I'm just going to read what I ended up writing for my late night comment. As an active community member and landowner whose family has been in Lincoln County for 6 generations, mostly in the logging, farming, and fishing industries, I have a deep respect for rural, simple living and working with my hands on the land. I also have incredible love and respect for the environment, landscape, waterways, fish, and wildlife that I've grown up alongside of, and that are an ingrained part of my own existence. I appreciate this work to protect our most valuable salmon streams and habitat, and understand the critical state that these keystone species and ecosystems are in, and what the irreversible repercussions are if we continue to lose them as we have been. I say all of that because I truly believe that we can protect our human families and communities, along with protecting the land, water, and natural world at the same time. We must, because we are dependent on it for our own survival. However, if our own family's ability to survive and thrive is threatened, then we as a people will be less willing or able to protect other living things around us. And as of now, so many families in Lincoln County are struggling hard just to feed themselves, afford childcare, medical care, and housing, and stay out of extreme debt and depression. And so it is with high priority that we are solidly assured that this mandated amendment will not end up costing far more than what it is worth. The proposed draft, as I understand it, has several additions that could significantly cost business, home, and landowners in the county alike in time, energy, and hard-earned money. With due diligence, the Board of Commissioners must push to understand the impact and costs of the proposed changes in the draft amendment. The county must then provide a thorough analysis of each change section on who is impacted and how. Livelihood cost improvements, land use changes of properties values, etc., along with who pays what cost and when, in what timeframes. Impacted homeowners and rural timber and farmland owners should be given a clear understanding of this analysis and its real-life impacts on their own land and lives, as well as for the fish and wildlife that they were created to protect, i.e., or example, how will these amendments help the streams and wildlife? Also, a loss of income difference must be considered as incentive to work with any new regulations without disrupting the rural means and legacy that Lincoln County has historically fought to preserve. I would like to humbly suggest that Lincoln County, through state or federal funding if needed, provide a rural advocate person. I'm 2/3 done. Provide a rural advocate, where's it at? Person or entity free of charge to help interpret and implement land use and policy code and any amendments, along with scientific education and guidance for protecting water, air, and soil quality, along with critical wildlife habitat. A full-time rural advocate would be ideal for our county and very useful in many future situations as well.
So Ms. Kasner, can you leave that with us, okay,
Sure.
as your testimony? That would be helpful. Okay, we're just gonna move through, and 3 minutes is the time, folks,
Really,
okay?
The only thing that's really down here is just, well, the most important thing is asking the FEMA for more time. And I brought a letter that I'm gonna leave with you as well, that I printed from another person's Facebook of what they are sending COTEC and all the different agencies already.
Helpful, okay. Thank you, Ms. Kasner. Yeah. So, okay, let's make sure we've got a copy of that. Mr. Lip, who is next?
We've got, I believe it's Nashira Bowman. And then,
Okay, are you Nashira? Okay, are you going to come up? Oh, okay, got you. Okay.
so then our next two would be, so a little bit light, I believe it's Tim Lehman and then D Danielson. Jim Lehman? Oh, sorry, Jim.
Jim Lehman. Thank you, Jim. Yeah,
Hurry up, Jim.
there you go.
They're giving me the mic. Watch it. I can't hear real well, so I don't know the timer. Oh, well, yeah. Anyway, I'm Jim Lehman, and I live on Eminent Road. An agency who's never been on Eminent Road is telling me where the floodplain is. That is basically taxation without representation. We went to war over that. Number two is if FEMA comes in and says, we're going to cancel your flood insurance, what's the bank going to do? They're going to want their money, won't they? Who's going to pay my mortgage if I cannot have flood insurance? I'm on unlimited income also. Of course, 90% of the people in here are. They're going to come in and they're going to wipe out my whole retirement just to pay off the mortgage. I'm not used to living under a bridge, in a culvert, or under a highway. They're going to have to come in with rifles and guns to take me off my place because I cannot afford to live there if my insurance is going to be canceled. And another thing is, what's the county going to do about my taxes if I can't live on my property? They're still going to charge me. It's kind of like a taxi meter, whether you're sitting or going, the meter goes. I'm real serious about this. I have fought with the county for over 45 years. I don't want to do it for the next 45 because I'm only 76. So you people are sitting there nodding your heads, but you don't seem to understand unless you're in our position what we're going through. This is terrifying for most of the people here. What happens if I want to sell my property? Well, we can't get flood insurance. So what am I going to do? Sell it 10 cents on the dollar if I'm lucky? And the young lady that was just here, the future of Lincoln County hasn't even been born yet. If you want a future, or if you want people to move out, and just say, if you want the property, you're the ones that are going to have to maintain it. So I'm just letting you know that there's a lot of people up on Eminent Road and a lot of people in the county that are not real happy about this. Anyway, short time.
Okay, thank you, Jim.
So we've got D Danielson, and that will be followed by Steve Arnold. D Danielson.
D Danielson.
Steve Arnold. Then Steve Harris will be next after Mr. Arnold.
Oh, just a moment. So folks, we've got more room in here. So if you're outside, you can come on in. It should help. Okay. Okay. Pardon me, sir. Go for it.
Okay, my name is Stephen Arnold. I have owned 4 oceanfront beach houses in Lincoln County. I'm a retired CPA. Had a CPA practice in Eugene, so I know how to read detail, tax code. This proposal is empty. There is insufficient detail. There are not examples. There's no precedence. And yet we're it's put to us to make a decision that is an impossible decision. I reject the whole premise. And what I recommend is that the county commissioners, and by the way, thank you for your service. I recommend that the county commissioners give a strong recommendation to the governor to pump the brakes on this whole thing. It's almost like the Biden administration wants to slide this in a hurry before Trump takes office. I wouldn't be surprised if Trump puts a freeze on any new regulations of the EPA. That's what I recommend.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Next will be Steve Harris, followed by Terry Wilson.
Steve Harris. Come on up, get that mic as close to you as you can, Steve, when you get settled.
Yeah, I'll make this short as I can. I'm Steve Harris and I live up at Ballard Acres. I'm not.
Steve, yeah, there you go.
Steve Harris.
There you go.
I live up at Ballard Acres, which is a 4-mile marker up the Siletz River. It's an old planned unit development's what it was originally, I think. I have a house here in 1974, right on the river. My field is, I've been a developer, I've been a builder. I've done a lot of federal wetlands issues. I've done federal wetland issues for Home Depot. I've worked with the state for their state land use, planning and wetlands. I've done intermittent streams, rivers, the whole thing. And I've had to pay for most of it. I'm a little concerned. There's 3 or 4 issues I'm concerned about. I was down and talked with the planning developer here, or director here last week. I read this thing about 5 times and I've got several concerns because I know where a lot of this is headed because I've developed in other counties before. The first one is your no net loss policy for floodplains and floodways. It does not include a land loss, normal land loss for heavy rains or everything else where you get depressions in the soil, depressions in the roadway. And I know in the back, it says you can get a permit to fill in roadway divots and everything like that, but a lot of land just sinks naturally everywhere, no matter where you're at anywhere. And it does not address the no net loss should not apply to big divots that have to be filled in with dirt or gravel or something else. It does not address that. What you have to do, if you're serious about this, is you would have to get a topography provided by a surveyor on every existing land to see what the land loss was. So you could replace it and you wouldn't have a no net loss proposal if that happened. You could just fill it in. Up there at Ballard Acres, I had to do that on the roadway because somebody came in and graded it too flat year before last and took the crowns off the road. Well, I've built roads too. You can't do that. So we had to try to put some kind of crown on the top so we didn't get flooded from the wetlands coming back on us.
Okay.
So you're going to have to look at that no net loss provision and put some more provisions in there if you're going to do it. And you're going to have topography maps done if you're going to be serious about this. And the ones you have are not accurate, I'm sure. You have to have permits. Very important point. Development involves picking up a shovel of gravel and dumping it in a hole, and you got to get a permit. You're going to have to rework your development definition standard here.
Okay, and you got one more, right?
I got one more little thing here.
Yeah, could you make your next point and then we got to wrap it up.
Okay. Riparian areas.
Okay.
Your riparian area on Siletz is 174 feet in a floodway. That's bigger than the lot I have. If I wanted to build, I'd have to put down 4 sonotubes and build above the 12-foot mark. Well, I would have to provide a mitigation loss plan for putting 4 sonotubes in the ground which would create an open space on my property that I would be responsible for, but I could do nothing with, and I would still get taxed for. And I've been through this before on big developments.
Hmm.
And this is a real negative thing, and this should be looked at also for property owners. Because my taxes never went down. I was paying $25,000 a year on one piece of property. I had to donate 1 acre property, and I still got taxed at the full rate. And I could do nothing with it.
Can you leave your written comments with us?
No, I can't, but I will provide a letter in the future.
Okay, that would be
Okay,
helpful.
that wraps it up.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you. You bet.
thank you for those details.
William Wilson gonna go, or is it Steve Carlson and Don? So we have Joe Steer next, and then followed by Leon. I'm gonna mispronounce your name, so I'll let you say it in the microphone.
Joe Steer, here he is. Come on up, Joe.
Middle one.
Yeah,
Please.
and make sure to get that handheld real close there, Joe.
Okay, name Joe Steer. Most of my stuff's been covered. I did send you folks a letter. If you've had time to cruise through it, thank you very much. And I just gonna start out here with the, Lincoln County Code, you guys, flood management title, statutory authority to promote the public safety, health, and general welfare of the citizenry. And I like this statement, but how can a flood hazard management plan for Lincoln County being pushed into implementation using blackmail tactics of withholding flood insurance and driven by lawsuits, not actual science, promote the general welfare of Lincoln County citizens? And that's probably going a little overboard, but I had to put that in there. As for me, ag and timber, I would like to see all those operations under the state Oregon Board of Forestry or Oregon Department of Agriculture. Just put that in there. It says you can do this and this, but in definitions, there's a lot of words that aren't really defined. And that just leaves everybody wide open to lawsuits. A lot of other things have been mentioned in here I do think you need to consider. And that's all I'm going to say today. I mean, you read the letter, appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Steer. Who was next, Ken?
That's following, Leon, he's coming up.
Mr. Chair, could I just ask,
Thank
do
you
we
very
have an
much.
idea how many other people are signed up?
1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Okay.
So 7, and then we do have some people online, I think. Pardon me, sir.
All
Your
right.
name again?
Ion, I-O-N.
Okay, all right. Go ahead.
Okay. So my name is Ion Chenushe. I live in East Back Ridge Road, right adjacent to Cougar Creek. I call my property Cougar Creek Ranch, but I'm retired, 72, and I don't make any money, don't want to make any money. However, I got this letter. In fact, when I purchased the property, it was 5 years ago. I looked on FEMA maps and the property was not listed on the floodplain. And I was living happily with that until I got the letter like a few weeks ago from you guys. And thank you for the letter. So when I look at that flood map, it strikes to me, since I'm by education an engineer, that visibly it shows that the flood map is totally wrong. The reason I'm saying that is because, for example, I use a system to measure the elevation relative to each other. And the ground plane is actually has a slope parallel with the creek of 4¼ feet in 250 yards. And the street is actually 1½ feet below. The street is not on the floodplain. In fact, on the other side of the street, there is another dip. Well, to make the story short, in my opinion, I'm 100% sure that FEMA is totally wrong. And the problem is that I cannot fix that with FEMA by myself very easily. And it's a very complicated process, right? Another thing that Mr. Husing and Ken, they're very nice and they give me advice and
provide information. But the problem is that it's gonna cost me money. So actually, I have a proposal. Since there are many people that they may be hitting the same problem, one of the things that FEMA doesn't have is, in fact, they don't have a study showing that that area is on the floodplain. So they say there's no study, so why do you publish it then if there's no study, right? Another thing that I heard is, well, we have a very accurate reading of the elevation because of the LiDAR or something. Well, that doesn't say anything because the key element, for example, on my property is that the creek is actually from 10 to 14 feet below the ground level and has actually a steeper inclination of 5 feet in 250 yards where I measured. So what I'm proposing here to everybody, it's a very simple thing. You have many people, they do have a level, an instrument that put a laser, and you just need a stick, and you can make yourself relative measurement of the levels. And in fact, maybe Ken could organize so we can get like more people together that believe we are having wrong information from FEMA, and make like a group that will go and ask FEMA to correct their mistakes. Because it looks like the burden is put on us to prove to FEMA that they're wrong, not to them to prove us with I guess with a study showing that where is a floodplain. So Ken, maybe we can keep talking and get other people to join us.
Please send me an email.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Next name.
Next, we have Amber Garrison, and Amber Garrison will be followed by Norman Thompson.
Okay. Amber, Vanessa, can I see that mic real fast? Can you still hear us out there right now? Is that coming through?
Let them know there's enough seats up front.
Okay, so why don't you come on in? Okay, we've got room in here opening up and on the sides because this continues to kind of be wonky.
I'll grab it.
So just a moment. We want to get as many in here as we can.
Hey, Commissioner Miller, while we're waiting,
Yes.
I have to get offline here in another 10 minutes or so, so I'll probably sneak off. I'll let Ken know when I leave. But before I leave, I'm hoping we might just at least have a consensus to send a letter to our federal delegation as well as the governor, even though it's not a state rule, it's a federal rule. Just saying based on the public comment we received today that more time is absolutely needed. I think we all already knew that going into this, but I'm just hoping before I leave that we can have consensus to try to get that out this week or early next week.
Yeah,
Mr.
agreed.
Chair, as far as I'm concerned, we absolutely have to do this.
Yeah.
And I think we already had a picture, a broad picture of the horrible consequences that this could have, but I just want to say now, and I'll say again in a little while, thank you for being here. Thank you. Well, I'll say thank you for not shooting the messengers, but thank you for telling your stories and making this very concrete and very real.
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree with Commissioner Hall. The impacts are what I thought they would be, but it makes my job a lot easier when we have stories and input from constituents sharing that. So if we can just direct, staff to work on a letter to get that out this week, I think that would be great.
Okay. All right, Commissioner Jacobson, thanks for that suggestion. We've got consensus on that. And we understand that you may have to leave us a little bit early. So, hi, your name.
I'm Amber Garrison and my home is on Schooner Creek. I'm super nervous because I think I'm totally not the same group as everyone else here.
Okay.
The creek is out my front door. It is not some piece on a side of a big property. It is, I have to have flood insurance. I am urging you to adopt this. I also think we need to go to FEMA and say there needs to be changes. I can't pay my mortgage. I have to have a mortgage. I can't pay off my property. I don't own a big farm. I haven't had it for 50 years. Look, a lot of people here are retired and have time to come here. I'm coming on behalf of my street. for working. I have to have a mortgage. I can't not have flood insurance. It's out my front door. I understand you have a farm and these things really affect you, but I'm begging you, I have to have flood insurance. Were you here in November of 21? They were at my front door. Okay, like, I understand, but I can't sell my place without someone being able to have a mortgage. I don't have tons of money to just pay it off. Like, it's super emotional for me and my neighbors because we're not big landowners. We have a house on a creek. And I know that there's more people like me, but they can't afford to take the day off and come here. So I'm begging you to think about the people who don't have big properties and don't have big farms and are just like a little house on a creek that could flood. And I need FEMA to be there for me. Like, I need them to help me if something happens. Please, I'm begging you to pass this. Like, hopefully we can get FEMA to change some rules. But I have to have flood insurance next year. It's $20,000 a year if I have to pay for private flood insurance. I can't afford that. Please, I'm begging you to think about it. Thank you.
Thank you. So for those of you that are at the doors, is there anybody else back out there? No, can you come on in and then can we shut those doors up, folks, please?
So
Yeah, at the bottom there. Thank you.
next is Norman Thompson, and Mr. Thompson will be followed by Heather Graham.
Thanks, everyone. Okay, Norma Thompson. Norman.
Mr. Thompson?
Thanks, everyone, for getting those doors shut.
Most of everything has been sort of answered, but my major problem is I'm completely surrounded by the city of Toledo. I'm unincorporated still, 3 acres of land. A few years ago, well, it's been going on for years. First, it was the Lincoln County School District wanted to slice off what mountain, I don't know, and fill in 19 acres of wetland. They did it down at the middle school, still buried. My particular piece has never been flooded. The water does get high, but it's never been flooded. I have, and I told the city of Toledo that when they removed the 1,100 feet of dike is what they wanted to do, and they did remove it. What about them? They have some responsibility here. I'm losing land because of tidal action. It's sweeping my property away. Tide goes in, tide goes out. Now, I have had bills suspended over my property several times. And they're going to kick it upstairs every time. As I understand it, the apartment complex that they were going to put in has been canceled there. But I'm still losing property, and no one wants to fix that. I pay taxes to the middle of the river, and pretty quick, the middle of the river is going to be even further and further away. I can't dump any rock in there, do anything without permission. One of the other things that bothers me, everyone's talking about the salmon. I wanted to take some trees down on my property. Pretty nice
trees, make a little bit of money. Buy myself a ductless heater for my house and a simple little thing like do a few other things like replumbing the house. Well, I went through a pretty good raking over the coals and told that I couldn't do that by the state of Oregon, state forestry. Every tree that's on that property and along the river, I planted or I left them so that they would grow. It held the river. From the city, my corner, northwest corner of my property, all the way down, clear down. You can go to the middle school and you won't see one damn tree plant. So where in the heck is FEMA and any of these people to protect our salmon?
Okay, sir. Anything else?
That's
We're
it.
out of time. Thank you. Next name, if you will,
Heather Graham.
Heather.
Okay.
Okay, Heather Graham.
So then our next two will be Janet Wickland and George Nagel.
So Janet Wickland.
Ken Witten?
Not
No,
No.
Janet Wickland right now.
George Nagel.
George Nagel. Okay,
Okay, Ken, you are next.
Ken Wetton. All right, you're up.
I've lived in Lincoln County for 50-some years. I'm 56 years old. I live at 5258 Highway 20, known as Lincoln County Drainage District #1. And I've been in here before on this FEMA thing. And I believe that over the years, I had a house that was in FEMA, and FEMA never paid for it when it went in the river. They wrote a check and then told me that the drainage district was not in FEMA. And they took my check back, so I hardened up and went back and built my own. We had problems with the county. Now, Owen claimed July 15th is when he first got this letter. I'm trying to figure out how come Lincoln County filed a lawsuit on me, Tim Dorsey, and Donald Thill for $2,000 a day when he's only got that July 15th. It started in May this year. And it's $2,000 a day till right now. We will all hear that. And we're fighting it. And basically, the county doesn't want me to put any more fill out there. Well, you know, you look down your highways, I took all the fill for the state highway for where it sinks out here going Beverly Beach. I took all the South Beach. And I took every one of your streets going down here, all the fill. I think the city had $18 million grant, you know? They had to bring that stuff across the street to Dole. They would have got that much money just to deliver it. And I shared my benefit with the whole community of my land because it's benefited. And I've been shut down and I've had to hire attorneys. And in this lawsuit, the county can't produce discovery. And I'd like to know why the legal counsel can't let my attorney have discovery and our whole lawsuit's filled up. And I read this thing here that you're adopting, and I see the rules of floodplain. Our lawsuit that's with the county filed on us this time describes solid waste. Well, I'll back up a little bit. The Southern District of Division State Lands approved my fills. Not only did I get tried from the Southern District, how about the Northern District? Who filed the complaint there? I have to fight and battle this out. Well, I have a letter here today. Well, they're 3 years apart. Where the next district, Western or the Northern District, fought me all the way up till just a couple of days ago. And as we stand here, it's $2,000 a day for me if I lose this. They're claiming they want to change the wording of the county charter. Well, Owen and the rest of you,
And I can say no more. And old John and Larry, you know, how about our, stuff to finish our lawsuit? I want to know why you're now just trying to change the wording of fill to gravel and dirt and saying that it's, solid waste. You filed a lawsuit a long time ago. It wasn't illegal back then. And for this lady that sat here, I really feel sorry for her. I wish she could come and stop and help her. And the rest of everybody else, I hope that, we can, relieve this. It's my understanding that Trump is gonna take care of this just as soon as he can. And it's one of the things that Elon Musk is gonna be working on. So why are we even wasting our time today?
Okay, Mr.
Thank you.
Webb, thank you.
You have a good day.
Okay,
Next, we have Richard Steenkolk.
no, Richard passing? You gonna pass? Okay,
Deborah Pogue.
Deborah Pogue, oh, there she is. Yeah, can we get that door shut back there, folks? Thank you. Hi, Deborah.
Hi, thank you very much.
Thanks for your patience.
And thank you for your service. I have one question that hasn't been answered. In the proposed policy, it says that the waterways will be maintained and, yeah, just maintained.
Hmm.
But it doesn't say who. Doesn't say who's going to maintain it. Is it the property owners? This is a county policy. Is it the county is going to maintain that? And with my property, I have 5 acres and it's zoned R1. They had us agricultural and they changed it to R1 years ago. I'm being taxed very heavily. Downstream, I have a creek bed that runs along North Bank Road. I live out in Otis. And the neighbors downstream had renters and they filled in the creek bed and they filled in the drain for underneath the road and filled it in on the other side. So when it rains heavy, my water backs up. And when we have a king tide and it's raining hard, then my property gets all kinds of water. I have complained multiple times to the county and they said there's nothing they can do. So that was my question, is who's responsible to maintain the creek bed? And if they fill it in where it won't drain, and the road that is compromised is not a quote unquote county road, it belongs to an association, which I believe the association is defunct years ago.
Which association, do you recall?
I think it's called River Bend Association.
Okay.
It, and my property is sloped down toward this creek. So all, if they're concerned about the fish, all the property here, they have septic systems. When that water backs up, all that water's going down and going down to the river. I think your floodplain thing is a little off because even when this floods, we don't flood on my house. And I think that's because they took out the Pixie Kitchen dikes and things. And when they did that and allowed the water to run, we don't have the backup. Because we have backup, and then when we have the high tides like that, that's when we get the water.
Yeah, just for clarity, you're talking about the old Pixie Land amusement.
Pixie
park
Land,
side.
yes, I said
Okay.
Pixie Kitchen.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Pixie Land, yes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
That's all there.
Okay, so just to stay on the public input in the room before we jump to the computer, anyone else want to provide comment? Come on up, make sure you state your name for the record, sir.
My name is Max Stevens.
Okay.
I own a property at 3820 Yakutina Bay Road. It's about 3 miles upriver from Pacific Ocean.
Okay.
I intend to put a shop and a boat ramp there. I did not understand the regulations well enough to understand whether that will be permitted or not. But if that's not permitted, that would be a significant loss of use. All my neighbors, several neighbors I have, they have buildings, and a few have boat ramps. That's all I have to say. Could I submit this?
You can, Max. What you got there?
Oh, this is just where my property is and the intended use I have for it.
Yeah, yeah, leave it right up here with Ken, please. And then Max, you have access to the planning department, know how to reach out to them too, all that clear? Okay, good. Anyone else in the room? Yeah, please come forward. Make sure we get your name and address,
My
okay?
name's Cheryl Ewan. I live at Hidden Valley Road.
Hmm.
We actually have dikes and they're floodgates. That Boone and the Newt Slough. And actually that's an area that's being studied right now in regards to, for the county, or excuse me, the city of Newport to actually begin utilizing for Big Creek Reservoir. So
Hmm.
my question is if FEMA is going to come in and want to start doing things, does that mean that it's going to negate the usage that the city of Newport's looking at? Because those floodgates are what helps take care of our flooding issue out in Hidden Valley.
Hmm.
So those ditches, you just addressed the cleaning of those ditches. Those ditches need to be cleaned. This ancillary ditches need to be cleaned. So long as those ditches and those dikes are in place, we have minimal flooding out there. That's reclaimed tidal wetlands. We always have some semblance of flooding, but never has that flooding come up. We've lived out there for 14 years. I don't know if there's anybody else in here from Hidden Valley, but I do know that there's people out there that have lived out there for over 50 years, and never has anybody talked to us about actually their low-lying houses being flooded out. So if FEMA comes in, are they going to take care of all that stuff? Are they going to stop what we currently have in progress right now with what we're working on with the city of Newport? I actually am the secretary treasurer for the Diking District.
And how many floodgates into Hidden Valley?
There's one for Hidden Valley, I believe it is.
Okay.
One's on one side and one's on the other for Boone and Newt Slough.
Hmm.
And I think it affects on both sides.
Okay, thank you for that. Anything else, Cheryl?
No, that's the biggest concern, is because we would need to know these things because that would affect what we're working on currently with you.
Okay, all right.
That would be information that you would want to have.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, thank you, Cheryl. Anybody else in the room? I see a hand. Come on up, please.
It's Marion Older. I live out on South Beaver Creek Road in Seal Rock. I have slightly under 5 acres. Part of it is timbered hillside, part of it is wetlands, and part of it is where I live. I have a barn, or a small, I call my toy farm because everything is in small scale. I have a little barn, I have a little greenhouse, that kind of. But I really have two concerns. One of them is there's not enough information. What are the definitions? What's the definition of development? What's the definition of fill? And how does that relate to, can I bring in some gravel to replace the gravel that on my place that I park? It's those small things that I'm concerned about. And the other thing that is puzzling to me is that my understanding is that FEMA made this decision on the 1st of December. That's that it's already a done deal. And that here's the hearing on the 4th. Where is that? Anyway, that's all I had to say.
Thank you.
Those are two important questions to me. What are the definitions and what about the timeline?
Okay. And was that Mary Ann?
It's Marian, Marian.
Okay, thank you. Okay, as Mary Ann's returning to her seat, anyone else in the room? Yeah, come on up. Make sure we get your name and address.
My name is Gary Miller. I'm the water master for the South River Loop, which is off Inman Road.
And Gary?
Gary.
Gary, okay,
Gary
thank
Miller.
you.
And my job as water master is to kind of maintain the well and maintain all the plumbing there. Our road regularly floods during the summer, or I mean, during the wintertime. And my question is there going to be some federal bureaucrat that comes and tells me in order to repair a leak in the water line, I'm going to have to get a permit and a study done to fix a bad valve or a leaky pipe? I do not want rules in place like that we have to come and undo later. So I guess I have other questions, but my overarching question is, if FEMA does this, adopts what you've presented to us, what's it going to take to undo it if we don't like it? And do we want to be in that position? I mean, I would much rather ask forgiveness than permission. I don't know. I mean, there's so many common sense things that all the people in this room came here to talk about. Well, how do you define the gravel? What what can I put on my land? My house is on stilts. What if I want to fix it? Do I have to, my sonotubes are, all of those things need to be addressed through some vehicle. And it's obvious that the federal government is not that vehicle. So perhaps when you send your letter to them, you can invite them to come and have a discussion with us about the real needs that are presented because of their actions.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you,
I have
Gary.
something I want to give you too.
Yeah, make sure to pass that to Ken. Is that submitted there for the record then, Gary? Anyone else in the room? Yeah, come on up.
Hello, my name is Nathan Wolmer. I own some property in Toledo, 578 Hidden Valley, right up the road.
Okay.
I have Newt Slough going right through my yard, right at the end of my property. And I'm new to being a homeowner. It's been a lifelong dream to get to the point to where I can have my own homestead. My wife and I have worked really hard for that. And I see these people up here that have generations on the property and respect. That's you got to start somewhere. And so I've been a property owner for less than a year out there, and the floodplain goes directly under my house. In Oregon, we get over 200 inches of rain in some places, and water moves, the land moves. And as a homestead owner, one of the things that I've realized is how much work goes into keeping that going. The work involves building the barn for the animals, maintaining the animals, and of course it's fighting against the weather, and the water pushes the dirt. You got to move that stuff. That's part of owning a homestead and owning, it's a lifestyle, and that's the problem. I think you guys have the easiest job in the world because protect people's lifestyles. That's what we are. We're people, simple people. I think for the most part, we love the land. We care as much about the land as anybody. We love the salmon. We're probably a lot of salmon fishers too. We're not out here trying to hurt the land. We have to work with the land, and instead of having the government strangle us, like I think you guys should kind of push back a little bit and give us the rights back that we should have for our own property and to take care of it. And if it's, the science is out there, you guys could test Newt Slough and see if it's poison or what's going into there and pinpoint that. But to umbrella rules over everybody and limit our ability to do the things that need to be done to like keep our homestead going and flourishing, I think that you guys know the right thing to do. And I'm encouraged to see so many people here fight for these issues as well. So that's it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Nathan. Okay, so it was Nathan Miller. Anyone else in the room? Wallner. Thank you for that correction. Wallner. So, okay, what we're gonna do next is we're gonna go into the Zoom software.
Mr. Chair,
Yeah,
point of personal privilege, I'd like to request just a brief break to take care of a couple of things. I'm going to need to reschedule a lunch appointment because we need to devote as much time to this as we need
Okay.
to.
so we're gonna take a quick recess. So for those that are online, please stay here at 12:05, 12:10. What do you?
12:05.
12:05. So for 5 minutes, we'll come back. And then we will re-engage the meeting. So got about 5 minutes here. We are now back in session, Mr. Husing. Okay, so we are back and we're looking to our virtual input. So we asked folks to use the raised hand function. So if you've got that on your computer, a little raised hand, that lets us know that you want to provide input. And it looks like Donald Benz is one. Donald, let's make sure we can hear you. So let's do an audio test, Donald.
Okay, this is Donald Benz. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. Okay, Donald, 3 minutes. Thank you.
Good afternoon now, everyone. I'm Donald Benz. My wife and I are owners at Sea Ridge Condominiums up at Gleneden Beach and have been homeowners there for over 30 years. You've heard both logical and impassioned testimony of what's going on here. It seems that the federal government is a victim of decades of overpromising and underperforming, and they're trying to mitigate any losses by putting that on the backs of landowners and county officials to try to enforce rules and regulations. We've had a particular situation at Sea Ridge where beachfront erosion has been an issue, and been working with the county for many years and ultimately obtained a permit for beachfront protection. Just for notice for the people that don't know Sea Ridge, we're about 5% in our literal cell, we're about 5% of the unprotected area. Everything else is protected. We have been issued a permit. We need to protect our sewer system. We need to protect our water lines. We need to protect our property. My big concern is this now going to mitigate our ability to install this beachfront protection that has been issued? The permit is still waiting for some technical resolution, but we hope that this won't interfere with this. In reality, for FEMA, they should encourage that we can do this, because this will protect our property and mitigate any flood protection. By not allowing us to do this, opens our risk for flooding. So that's my comments, along with all the other impassioned testimony that you've heard today.
Okay, Donald, then, so that's a wrap?
For me, yes.
Okay, thanks for your testimony. Wow.
Yeah.
Little hot
I
there.
can turn it back down now.
A little bit there, thanks. Okay, anyone else online, please use your raise hand if you want to provide testimony.
Leave the rest are employees.
Okay. All right, so, and then I guess written inputs.
We received 3 via the planning department. and
Okay.
Those can all be found in the agenda right here under public comment where you see their link.
Okay.
And for anybody who is, can see the screen right now, this PowerPoint presentation that the planning director presented will, right here where it says public hearing, will be attached there.
Okay.
We can't see that.
Ooh,
Oh, I can share it.
he's doing share screen right now.
Do you want me to go through how to get there?
Yeah, real quickly. So for our virtual participants, public information officer showing you where that information is archived when you submit that testimony.
So if you start at the home page and scroll down here, you'll see agendas and minutes. Then you just find the meeting that you would like to see the agenda for. Oh, sorry. Click on that. Here on the left where it says meeting overview, there's a version of the agenda that has all of the relevant documents attached to it in a hypertext link. The PowerPoint presentation from Director Husing will be under public hearing among these documents.
Okay. Okay, so that wraps up the public comment period of this public hearing. Council Yule, here on my talking points, I know we may or may not close the public hearing, so.
Commissioners, my recommendation would be to continue the public hearing to December 18th.
Okay.
And that would be the second reading of the ordinance.
And Commissioner Jacobson, any chance you're still with us? Okay, so she is gone. Commissioner Hall?
That sounds like a good plan.
Yeah, I think so as well.
We've had wonderful, tremendous amount of public feedback. I think it's incumbent on us, especially with the implications of this, that we cast as wide a net as possible, encourage as many people as possible to share their stories with us about how this will impact them.
Yeah. So we have an online form that allows you to submit input, but is our planning director still here, Otto? Otto, for the purposes of also getting information directly to planning, any recommendations on how folks submit their information? Of course, we can
So
put
we-
it back to you.
We actually have a formal process for the hearing, so they
Okay.
do have to submit it. It's contained within the hearing notice of how
Okay.
they do that.
Oh, okay.
So it actually comes to the board's office that can be shared with planning. Obviously, any comments that go to planning can be shared with us as well. But the process is to submit it to the boards because it's a matter before the Board of
Okay.
Commissioners.
Thank you, Council Yule. Can you show that pathway real fast, Kenneth?
I'm not sure what was on the notice. Is it the email address or is it a smart sheet?
So it can be the email address, it can be by mail, so you can submit it either way.
Okay, so the
To the
email
Board of Commissioners office.
Correct.
Right.
the email address to submit things to the Board of Commissioners office is just boc@co.lincoln.or.us.
Yeah. And the online form also has the ability to put attachments. I find that helpful sometimes if people have trouble sticking all their documents into one place. Okay, so we're going to keep the public hearing open. We're going to move this to the 18th.
Commissioner, just make a formal motion then to continue the hearing.
So,
Mr. Chair, I would so move.
okay, and I'll second that, and we will move it to the 18th formally. Anything else? Okay,
We need to vote, I believe.
yeah.
Motion.
Oh, okay, well, let's take a vote. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Okay, thank you for that. Director Husing, any thoughts now? I mean, we're out of the public hearing, but.
I
mean,
just
we're
want to thank
moving it.
everybody like you have for participating in their democracy, and the conversations that I've had have been rewarding. I mean, some of them have been difficult, but it's so important that at least this level of government is responsive and that we work property owner by property owner to. So there's of course the higher level policy discussions, but I think we're on firmer ground ourselves when we're talking about a particular piece of property and what's going on there. And I think that's what most people want to really know. How does this affect me? So this has been great. I look forward to reviewing the testimony as well. And I guess there's a draft letter we got to get ready to send out, right?
Yeah.
Is there a
Well,
motion on that or just?
I can work with you on that.
Okay,
with the
sure.
letter.
Thank you. Yeah.
And Sherry, could you come up real quickly and just tell us how to contact you and what's the best methodology for reaching out?
You can go to.
Oh, right here, right here.
Oh.
And Sherry, just for the public interest here too and clarity, just state who you are and let us know.
I'm Sherry Brubaker. I'm Congresswoman Val Hoyle's field representative in Lincoln, Benton, and Coastal Lane County. Sorry.
Yeah.
Of course, the Congresswoman and her team are aware of this and previously sent a letter asking for a delay. She will certainly welcome your letter when you send it, but I'll let our team know you're sending a letter. I do want to just clarify one thing, and this didn't just come up in December. There just seems to be so much misinformation, but this has been in the works for just years and years and years. I just wanted to clarify that, but you can contact the Congresswoman's office directly. You can send comments by going to our webpage. Let me just tell you what that is. I believe it's valhoyle.com. But let me just double check. Val Hoyle. Oh, no. The house page is what I'm looking for.
hoyle.house.gov.
Yes, you can just go through an automated system. You can also, if you want my card, I can leave a card. You're welcome to call me. But if you go to that website, we have an automated system that will just, allow you, it will prompt you to leave your comments or present your issue. And so you can also get a card from me. I can give you my business card.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you,
Sure.
Mr. Ricker. Appreciate that. Any closing thoughts for you on this?
Thank you, Mr.
Yeah.
Chair. Just briefly again, I want to thank everybody who turned out today. I want you to know, as far as I'm concerned, and I'm sensing from my fellow commissioners as well, that you were heard, really heard. I think we're going to do whatever we can to make a lot of noise about this, and hopefully with elected officials at all levels, rising up on your shoulders that, I don't know what the resolution will be, but the alternatives, none of them are acceptable to me. This is government run amok at its worst.
Yeah, well, my sense is we've got some critical mass moving. I think that is going to work out for us, but certainly the letter is something that will, help stimulate that.
If I may, and I want to thank some people specifically. Some of you already taught me this lesson, but it was good to have it reinforced here. And hopefully people watching and listening will take note of this. I hate the fact that some people are trying to post this as conservationists versus landowners. Now, when you're talking about property that's been in your family 50 years, 100 years, or even more, I know you're going to be a wise steward of that land because you want to hand it down to future generations. And as far as I'm concerned, our local folks in agriculture and tree farming are some of the best conservationists we have.
Yeah, thank you for that. Administrator Johnson, anything from you or?
Well, again, I want to thank everybody for their attendance today and their patience. We're going to have to look at another date and time for our meeting. I think in order to get some things in before the end of the year, and we're a requirement of 2 meetings to do that, we may have to look at a meeting next week, if that
Okay.
at all possible. We had talked about one on the 27th.
Yep, I'd recommend maybe a special meeting. It can be on the 11th, but it would be in the afternoon because we have
Mhm.
commissioners not available that morning. So maybe 3 p.m. It looks like everybody's free.
Okay, so looks like we've got a tentative possibility of December 11th in the afternoon. Okay. Yeah, and just so everybody notes, we moved a number of items off of this meeting. That was the Water Systems Alliance, county transfer of roads, the STIF application. So commons redevelopment. So we appreciate that everyone's patience. We can move this to a better date. So keep that on the note. Tentatively the 11th, although I'm comfortable with that. 3 p.m. Just take a quick glance here, but I think. Okay. Yep, looks like. Okay. And just so there's no confusion, we won't be discussing the public hearing like we did today. That's the 18th. Okay. All right. So we move into reports and commissioner reports.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Just briefly, on Friday, I'll be convening the Oregon Housing Stability Council monthly meeting, and very glad to share that once again, some more resources, in this case, to preserve affordable housing are coming to the community. $3,200,000 going to maintain the Surfside Mobile Home Park just down the street from us here, 33 units. And it's going to be owned and run by a tenant cooperative. And part of the financing deal is that the park will have to meet affordability standards for qualifying seniors for the next 60 years. So it's great. It's important to build housing, but it's also important to preserve the affordable stock we already have.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Jacobson is not here. I'm going to move my reports to the 11th. I have some things to report, like my recent attendance at the Forest Trust Lands Advisory Committee at AOC. So I'll discuss that on the 11th. Let's see here. And getting closer to closing here, we move into public comment. Now, this is not for the public hearing. So our comment that's written was mostly for the hearing. Got you. So is anyone on the meeting virtually that wants to provide public comment, something other than the FEMA topic? Okay, so still just staff. And does anybody else in the room want to provide comment on something other than the FEMA topic? No? Okay. All right, so bear in mind, on the 11th, we will be meeting here and virtually at 3 p.m. That will be a Board of Commissioners meeting. The following meeting will be December 18th. And if there's anything else, no, then we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.